What's going on, guys? What's going on? I don't know if y'all can hear me. Um, Hope everybody can hear me. Decided to finally go live, and I know y'all see the title. As y'all come in, make sure y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Y'all know the drill. Turn on your notifications. Share this content with your family, your friends, your colleagues, your peers, so that we can all get a dose of this shit. Q pill. I know y'all see the title. Um, Female body counts. It's a buzzword. It's a trigger word for a lot of women. When they hear that men don't accept their body counts, it's war, it's misogyny, sexism. You hate women, you hate your mom, all the above, all the shaming, the guilt tripping, the insults, the manipulation, trying to make us feel as if, you know, we're supposed to accept their body counts, no matter what it is. If it's two bodies or if it's 100 bodies, it's supposed to be inconsequential. It ain't supposed to make a difference. Um, I'm gonna give y'all the biological basis of it, and we're gonna talk about it in a sociological context. The socialization of it, why they believe that it should it shouldn't matter to the degree that it does, and why they have a problem with it. Because let's be real, we don't give a fuck as men if they have a problem with it or not. The reality is, men make decisions, and we have to live with the consequences. And women are no different. They make decisions with the sexual liberation movement, feminism. They decide who they want to sleep with. They decide that they're going to sleep with however many guys they're going to sleep with. And then they expect us to accept it, and we just ain't with it. We're naturally wired that way. It's biology, it's evolution. We're supposed to be that way. But before I elaborate on it, what brought this to my attention was I had seen the interview with P. Diddy's son, Christian Combs, and he said that in the interview when they asked him what was one type of woman you wouldn't date, and he said a woman with a high body count. And I said, look at him being controversial right off the gate. It's intrinsic, man. It's something that's in us. It's something that's in us. It's something that we're naturally repulsed by, and we're naturally disgusted by. And although there is no way for us to completely confirm that a woman is being honest about her body count, the reality is we have a preference. We have a preference for chastity. We have a preference for purity. We have a preference, meaning if you gave us the choice, if we had the option to choose a woman who has had multiple sexual partners, many sexual partners, or a woman who has no sexual partners or fewer sexual partners, we would always choose the woman with fewer sexual partners. So before I actually dive a little bit deeper into it, let's take a look at the interview with Christian Combs and Angela Yee when she asked him the question, and he stated that he wouldn't want a woman with a high body count. And then I'll show you guys the data that I collected as well as what the data says, and I'll explain to you guys the scientific explanation for why men don't desire women with high body counts.
Won't ever date a woman who got too many bodies.
How would you even know?
Right. How would you know?
I mean, if they
If the
was on
streets
the
is
street,
talking?
if they like,
Okay.
yo, she outside, like it's like it's too crazy.
That might make her more experienced, though. She really could put it down.
True.
And these
But
days,
it might not be like, you know what I'm saying? It might not be right.
And when I say date, okay, what?
Oh, okay, hold up. Angela Yee states that, that she might be more experienced. Now, me personally, I really don't give a shit because I love conquering a woman, and my last two girlfriends were virgins. My 22-year-old girlfriend, ex-girlfriend that I dated at my university, she was on the women's Division I basketball team. She was a virgin at 22. And I had no issue with the fact that she wasn't experienced. I enjoy the process of teaching a woman how to please me. I enjoy the process of me imprinting on that woman sexually. I enjoy that process. So I'm not one to chase experienced woman. Although I have been with experienced women, and you can tell the difference, especially when they perform fellatio. You can tell the difference in women who have, performed fellatio a few times on a few different guys versus a virgin who's just learning and doesn't really know how to perform fellatio. But that's not something that I would, that's not something I place a significant degree of importance on. You know what I mean? Because I do most of the work anyway, and I'm sure most guys do most of the work anyway in the bedroom. So, I mean, to each his own. There's some guys who may prefer an experienced woman, especially for a casual encounter. That may vary because, you know, of course, you want to get your nut off and you want it to be as pleasurable as possible. But most of the time, we don't need anything in addition to the fact that we're already fucking. That's just the reality of it. So that's just Angela trying to make light of, trying to look at it in a positive way, trying to rationalize it. Oh, she may be experienced. Yeah, she may be experienced, but at the end of the day, she still got a lot of bodies. And the fact that she has a lot of bodies make me think about the fact that there's been a whole bunch of dicks just in this woman. And there's been a whole bunch of dicks in this woman's mouth. And to me, that's just like, ugh, I just don't, like, that's not something that turns me on. That's something that when I think about, I'm actually disgusted by. It's like, why are you so easy? Why did you put so many penises in your mouth? Why did you allow so many penises to penetrate you? And to say that it's for fun, really? Because what type of dopaminergic surge do you get out of risking STIs, pregnancy, and risking not coming? That seems like a whole bunch of risk and little reward. So I never understood that whole rationalization with women rationalizing, saying, you know, oh, they have fun, they may want that too. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me, because sex involves a lot more risk than reward for women, as I'm going to show you guys based on a chart that I have. But
what about, would you sleep with a woman who had a lot of bodies, but maybe not date her?
Nah.
Nothing? But what if you find out after?
I don't want to get in between none of that. If it's after the fact, then it's like, it already happened.
At that point. Streets be lying, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you can't always listen to the streets.
Your name shouldn't even be in the streets if you with me.
So your name in the streets?
Yeah, your name in the streets.
But his right, not in that.
Hey, we number one in the streets. Can't stop, won't stop.
Period. Right.
So I'll replay the interview one more time so you guys can hear it in full, what he said about not wanting a woman with a high body count.
I won't ever date a woman who...
I won't ever date a woman who got too many bodies. Like.
How would you even know?
Right, how would you know?
I mean, if the
streets
on the
is
street,
talking?
if they like, yo, she outside, like, it's like, it's too crazy.
That might make her more experienced, though. She really could put it down.
True.
And these days...
But it might not be like, you know what I'm saying? It might not be right.
And when I say date, okay, what about, would you sleep with a woman who had a lot of bodies, but maybe not date her?
Nah.
Nothing? But what if you find out after?
I don't want to get in between none of that. If it's after the fact, then it's like, it already happened.
At that point. Streets be lying, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you can't always listen to the streets.
Your name shouldn't even be in the streets if you with me.
So your name in the streets?
Yeah, your name in the streets.
But his right, not in that.
Hey, we number one in the streets. Can't stop, won't stop.
Period. Right.
So you guys heard him there, and I want to bring up a point that he mentioned. He said if it's already after the fact. I took that into account. So I conducted my own survey over on Instagram and over here on YouTube, where I asked, you know, the guys, how would they feel if a woman that they were dating, their wife or their girlfriend, revealed that they had a promiscuous past. So I want you guys to take a look at this survey, and it was, I mean, I like it. It was a good survey. I said, fellas, if you found out your girlfriend, wife had a promiscuous past, how would you feel? And the options were disgusted, repulsed, unaffected, indifferent, conflicted, stressed, empowered, proud. Now, over on Instagram, you see 63% of men chose disgusted and repulsed. 16% chose unaffected, indifferent. 19% chose conflicted, stressed. And 1% chose empowered and proud. And that might have been women who were answering the question despite the fact that I said fellas. And then on Instagram, then on YouTube, the distribution was almost identical, almost symmetrical. On YouTube, when I asked, 64% of men chose disgusted, repulsed. 16% chose unaffected, indifferent. 20% chose conflicted, stressed. And 1% again chose empowered and proud. So you guys can see there that the feelings that are elicited when a woman reveals she has a promiscuous past, most guys, the majority of men, said they would feel disgusted and repulsed. Now, it's not a matter of the fact that, you know, it can necessarily change how they feel in terms of wanting to be with the woman. That's the question I'll get into next. But when we ask the question, does it matter? Is it important? Does it make you feel differently about this woman? Does it make you perceive this woman differently? And if those feelings evoke feelings of disgust and repulsion, then clearly it's evident that guys feel significant about a woman having a higher body count. So I'm gonna go back to it, and you guys can see the second question that I asked. It says, after finding out your girlfriend, wife's promiscuous history, how would you respond? We see 24% of men on Instagram said that they would stay. We see 76% say, I'd ultimately end the relationship / marriage. And then on YouTube, it was pretty much identical. 21% said they would stay, and 79 said they would ultimately end the marriage or relationship. Meaning, for most men probably would not be able to get over the idea that their woman has been around sexually, been around the block sexually. Now, this is natural. This is a natural response that men have evolved to have for women with promiscuous histories. Why? Well, because evolution, as you guys heard me say earlier, evolution, biology. There's a concept known as paternity uncertainty. For those of you who are not familiar with paternity uncertainty, it is an extension of sexual selection theory, and it basically posits that men do not know when a child is theirs. And if men do not know when the child is theirs, then men have evolved natural biological adaptations to combat the possibility that their children are that the offspring are theirs. So what that means is women know the child is theirs. Women get pregnant. Women know when the child is theirs. Men have no way of identifying if a child is theirs, and men want to optimize their reproductive lineage. They want to optimize their reproductive potential, their genetic fitness, by being able to have as many kids as possible. And that's why men have evolved to be more promiscuous. So we're naturally repulsed by promiscuous women because a promiscuous woman maximizes the chance of her conceiving a child that is not that man's, and maximizes the possibility that he will be investing and allocating resources to a child that is not his, which in our evolutionary past, to our ancestors, that was detrimental. I mean, if you got a child and another child, if you got two children, one is not yours and the other one is yours, and you're investing in that child that's not yours, then you're clearly taking away resources from the child that you believe is yours, or clearly taking away resources from the child that is yours for the child that you believe is yours, and you're helping another man's offspring ultimately become bigger, healthier, stronger, to attract more women, and that's detrimental to your genetic legacy. That's basically what paternity uncertainty is. That's basically what it posits. So that's why men, in biological terms, from an evolutionary perspective, don't like promiscuous women. Now, in a sociosexual context, socialization, the attitudes, the perceptions, the stigma that comes with women being sluts, hoes, because they're promiscuous, well, there's some merit to that as well. There's some merit to that as well. And I want you guys to take a look at this, because this shows why, although women may say, it's my body, my choice, that's fine, and there's nothing wrong with a woman being promiscuous, the data simply doesn't support that. The data doesn't support that. Now, this chart, this is an infographic. This infographic is really small. This infographic is really small, so I'm going to read it to you guys. I'm going to help you guys understand what it's saying. This basically breaks down female promiscuity over time. And what it's explaining is that from the 1970s to the 2010s, the amount of women, the percentage of women who were premarital virgins has decreased significantly. You guys can see in the green, if you see the green, in the 1970s, 21% of women were virgins prior to marriage, and then in the 80s, 17%, 90s, 14%, 2000s, 12%, and 2010s, 5%. On the flip side, you see that women with higher body counts increased. So the red represents the women with higher body counts who increased. And down at the bottom, we see that there is almost a correlation of 1 with the increase in body counts to the decrease in marriage stability, the decrease in happiness, and the increase in STDs. So women with higher body counts have a dramatic decrease in marriage stability. And this is when you speak about women who are promiscuous or have a promiscuous past are more likely to get a divorce. They're more likely to cheat. They're more likely to be unhappy in their marriage. And of course, their likelihood of contracting STDs is much higher because, let's face it, women who are promiscuous are not making every man that they sleep with wrap it up, in large part due to the fact that most of the men that women have to sleep with in short casual flings are attractive. And if they're attractive, then that woman is basically saying, I would like for this man to have my baby. And we know men don't like wrapping the shit up anyway. Men have very little dick discipline. That's what I consider dick discipline. I think it's a stretch to say dick discipline is men not having sex altogether. I say dick discipline is at least being able to put on a condom before you engage in coitus. That's what I would consider dick discipline, because that's about as good as you're going to get, because most men are not going to turn down sex. So if you're not going to turn down sex, at least be able to put a condom on. But we know most men is out here just fucking these bitches raw. That's what they're doing. And lo and behold, that's why there's been a 50% increase in sexually transmitted diseases in the past decade amongst women, especially with chlamydia and syphilis. Those have been the primary diseases that we've seen, or infections that we've seen an increase in women, because women are not making these dudes wrap it up. And of course, the abortion rates. The abortion rates are through the roof as well. So that again lets you know that these women are being promiscuous and not making these niggas use protection. So when they use that excuse, well, there's safe sex, there's birth control, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we know it's bullshit, because the abortion rates and the STI rates still show that they're fucking without protection. They're fucking without any forms of birth control, which is resulting in their pregnancies and the higher rates of abortion and the higher rates of STIs. So, yeah, it's very simple. It's very simple, man. It matters. It matters. Men don't want to be with women where they know that they can optimize or maximize their chances of divorce. A man gets down on one knee, he commits to a woman, he says, I want to spend the rest of my life with you till death do us part, through sickness and in health. And that's compromised when you do that for a woman who's had the town inside of her, who's had the neighborhood inside of her, who's been ran through. And when you take her to a party, or you guys go to a meeting, or you guys go to any setting, there's a possibility that somebody knows somebody that's been in your girl or your wife. That's not something that's a good feeling. It's embarrassing. It's disrespectful. It's repulsive. It doesn't make you feel like you have a catch. It doesn't make you feel like you have a catch. Not to mention it also the fact that, you know, it heightens the chances of her being or committing infidelity. And that's the last thing we want as men, because we value loyalty. Loyalty is probably the number one thing that we value in women. Once again, because paternity uncertainty, we need to ensure that if she has a baby, the child is ours. That's just the way we are wired. That's why we evolved jealousy. If you guys didn't know, that's why jealousy is an evolved emotion that we feel in order to repel potential cuckold opportunities, if you want to put it like that. We've evolved jealousy to keep our women from sleeping around and to keep other men at bay from getting with our women. That's why men get jealous. So it is important. It is important. And it's just feminism, it's female empowerment, it's third wave bullshit. Third wave feminism, probably fourth wave, fifth wave now with all the bullshit that we have going on. But it's female empowerment. Women should be allowed to do what they want to do. Women should be allowed to be promiscuous. Men should overlook it. Why does it matter? If a woman sleep with a man, she's a hoe. But if a man sleeps with a whole bunch of women, then he's a player. Well, because it's more difficult for men to get sex first and foremost. And we've evolved to desire multiple women once again because of paternity uncertainty. The more women we have sex with, the higher our chances of continuing that genetic fitness. The more women we sleep with, the more we maximize our genetic fitness, or as I just said, we optimize our genetic fitness. So we have a natural proclivity to want to sleep with multiple women due to the fact that we don't know who the fuck is going to be our kids. Well, thank God we don't live in that era anymore. We have DNA tests now and things that can confirm whether the child is ours, but still, we still retain those biological adaptations to deal with those kind of environmental pressures, because our ancestors didn't have DNA tests. So they had to develop some way to ensure that the kid was theirs, that this woman wasn't sleeping around, and that was jealousy, and that was a disgust for promiscuous women. That's where those feelings came from. That's where those emotions developed. That's where they evolved. It's really simple. I posted the video on body count. I went viral for the video on body count here on Instagram, and on TikTok. Went viral for the video on body count. Received a lot of hatred, of course, women calling me misogynistic and also trying to bring up the fact that it matters for men, and that's not true. And I'll tell you guys why. There's plenty of research, there's plenty of studies on how casual sex for men predicts happiness. So casual sex for men actually predicts happiness, and men are happier when they have casual flings versus women who are not. Women have a lot more emotional regret. Women have a lot more negative attitudes and feelings after having sex. We all know women who regret having sex with certain men. We all know women who didn't enjoy the sex as much as they thought they would. We all know women who end up in a situation where they have sex with a guy and then they end up not liking the guy, thought they liked the guy, and wish they never met him, wish they never had sex, they badmouth him, etc., etc. I don't hear too many men who actually regret sexual encounters. That's not something that I hear. A lot of times men don't regret their sexual encounters. Women do. And if women were as adept to being promiscuous as men are, there would be no disparity there. There would be no disparity there. However, there's a significant difference, because men evolved one way and women evolved another way. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with sexual selection theory, is basically the sex that invests the most in offspring is the sex that's much more selective. That would be women. That would be women. They're much more selective for that reason. Women have evolved to select the best mate for them, the highest quality mate for them. And they'll leave a mate for a better mate. We all know for a better mate, ergamy. They'll leave a lesser mate for a better mate. But that's not promiscuity. Promiscuity is jumping on the opportunity to reproduce at a moment's notice. Men have sex simply for the opportunity, because the opportunity presents itself. Women have sex. They need to know your name, what you do, how much money in your pocket. Women need all of these variables that make them feel more attracted to you. Men, you just have to look good. Now, for the casual flings, women do place a significant amount of weight on physical features and speed dating, Tinder apps. Those things have found that. We see that with women who engage in short-term casual flings. But the difference is women who engage in short-term casual flings normally use casual flings as a disguise for something long-term. The women who will sleep with guys up front typically want something more on the back end. They don't just fuck, leave the money on the dresser, and then go on about their business. That's not the way most women are built, because women release oxytocin. Cuddle hormone. Men typically release vasopressin. Vasopressin brings out the territoriality in us, whereas oxytocin, that's the hormone that women release when they breastfeed their kids. That's the hormone they release when they orgasm, exponentially more than men do. Men release primarily dopamine. It's an anticipatory response. We know we're going to get our nuts. We don't know if they're going to get their nut when they fuck, which is why I said I can't imagine being a woman who just wants to sleep around with very little reward. Makes no sense. Yeah, but I had to come on here and say that, guys. I had to come on here with this and say this. I wanted to go live to say this because I rarely go live. You guys know I rarely go live. Most of the time I'm doing reaction videos, and I just wanted to finally go live and see what it was like, see what the experience would be like. I see that I got some people watching. I ain't got to have huge numbers yet. I'm just getting into the swing of things, just getting into the groove of things. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. For those of you who have tuned in, who have been interactive, I greatly appreciate it. I love it. Anytime you guys want to support the show, you guys see my Cash App is down there. The least you could do is at least like the show. Just like it, share it. You can also follow me on my other socials, Instagram at the Q Pill, Twitter Q_Pill, TikTok ODQ Pill. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I know this was a short show. I will be doing longer shows, more shows, live shows, bringing on guests. I will be doing all of those things. This is more so like a test run. I decided to go live instead of doing the usual record, the way that I recorded and then posted. I wanted to go live to actually see what it was like, and I'm satisfied with the results. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys be safe, be blessed. As I said, continue to share my content. Let everybody get a dose of the Q Pill. I'm Suave Q, aka the Q Pill. I'll see you guys later. Over and out.